Am I the butthole for calling my boyfriend an insecure little boy after his repeated jokes that I cheated the system to get to a career that pays more than his? Tim and I met in an English literature class our junior year of college, and we've been together the 10 years since. While he ended up going into IT, I stayed in the liberal arts track and ended up doing nonprofit work after college when I realized I didn't actually want to be a school teacher. Just to say that we always assumed he'd out-earn me by a considerable margin, though when he made more I always insisted we split things evenly to avoid potential resentment down the road. I've had sort of a non-linear career path, but ended up switching to the corporate world. To make a long story short, my liberal arts degree and time doing nonprofit work gave me a lot of skills that enable me to really excel professionally in some more niche areas. I recently started a new job as a consultant, making way more than I'd ever anticipated. When I got the offer, I told Tim that the pay was amazing, but he didn't ask about the actual amount and I didn't want to be braggy about it, especially since I was fairly sure it was above his current income. Well, we just put in an application for a new place, and in the process of having to submit our pay stubs it's become obvious that I make roughly 30% more than he does now. I expected him to think that was cool, since he's a feminist and has always been super supportive of my career. But instead he started to make increasingly harsh jabs about how I cheated the system to get where I am, that no English lit major makes more than a cybersecurity professional without cheating somehow. His major point is that I got my first job out of nepotism, which set me up to trample more qualified people who didn't have the same advantages. It's true that I got my first post-college job after being referred by a sorority sister, but it was for nonprofit work making $22,000/year, not exactly at somebody's daddy's firm. He also points out that at my first corporate job, I snagged a big promotion after volunteering to take on starting up the company's diversity/equity/inclusion program, and I'll admit that were I a white man, it's highly unlikely I would have been able to be the face of the eventually high-profile diversity program. Tim also notes that I was awarded a small college scholarship for being a promising female writer, when no such scholarship existed for males. But all that said, I still don't feel like I cheated the system, and it makes me angry to listen to him joke about it, especially since I grew up blue-collar and worked full-time while going to school full-time to afford my degree. I reached a breaking point yesterday when he made a crack about how the new/first woman on his team is an obvious diversity hire. I told him that his jokes about women cheating the system to get ahead aren't funny or guy talk ribbing as he says, they make him sound like an insecure little boy. He told me I was being a naive Karen, and we haven't really talked since yesterday. Did I go too far? Not the butthole. Dump him. He's sexist and toxic toward women. Imagine you have kids with him someday. WTF. Using people you know to find jobs is 100% normal and called networking. Cybersecurity is not some top dog where no one earns more than that field. His attitude toward your major is gross. Getting a promotion because you volunteered and showed initiative on new programs and showed interest in the company is also normal. There are plenty of scholarships out there. Winning a scholarship does not somehow mean you took advantage. Like, holy crap, original poster, he is so toxic. He's supportive of your career only as long as he is more successful. Do you realize how condescending that is? An actual supportive partner would be thrilled you got such a great job. He's not just insecure, he's selfish and an absolute butthole. This original poster is not the butthole, and the boyfriend is likely only a feminist when he is making more money. I'm sorry he is making you doubt your qualifications and worthiness. Strong businesses need people with many different backgrounds, it helps them grow and change and succeed. People like your boyfriend will always find a way to blame you for and be jealous of your success. Not the butthole. He claims to be a feminist because it's cool now and gets him social bonus points. I'll bet that if you were better than him in something else, like faster runner, he would find excuses too and that you cheated. It's easy to be supportive of someone who isn't a threat. I don't know why anyone would see this as a threat. It's so silly. I wish my wife made 30% more than what I currently do. It would more than double her wages. More household money the better. If you pride yourself on being the high earner, and put that before the family unit's success as a whole, it becomes a threat. Takes a special kind of insecurity for sure, but I meet quite a lot of them. My last boyfriend used to swing wildly between saying me making more money emasculated him and asking to borrow money for stupid crap and coming up with excuses not to work. He didn't like when I pointed out that if when he worked a full 40 he made about as much as I did. It's a threat to their control. They are afraid that if their partner is financially independent, that's one less reason to stay in the relationship. Making more money gives them leverage and power. I make more than twice what my husband makes, and he's effing thrilled that he gets to work in the arts, and we have a nice lifestyle. I absolutely wouldn't be with anyone who thought our earnings were a dick measuring contest where he automatically wins because he has the actual dick. In my experience, the men who are very vocal about how feminist they are, like Original Poster's boyfriend, are usually quite misogynistic. The number of men who become feminist icons or major figures in feminist organizations who turn out to be manipulative sexual harassers is crazy. He's calling women on his team diversity hires. He's not a feminist. Laughing out loud, if she were a faster runner, I imagine him saying that it's just easier for her since she is lighter and women have more stamina or something. Yeah, this guy's textbook fair weather feminist. Dude's about as feminist as a wet paper bag. It sounds like they keep separate finances. Want to bet that he was all for that as long as it aligned with his belief that he'd always out-earn Original Poster, and he thought he had to protect his much more successful income? How long until he wants to combine finances now that it'll benefit him? How long until serious financial abuse is added to the emotional abuse? The fact that his team have only recently hired the first female, the first woman, despite women being 50% of the population. And he can't see the fact that he has his job because he is a man. That he was hired because of his male privilege. To the extent that all the members of his team are male, and he thinks that is due to merit, just highlights that this guy is not a feminist. And not only that, he is not even a kind, loving boyfriend, he's just another sad male with an undeserved ego and an undeserved girlfriend. Original Poster, he has shown you who he is, you need to start seeing him for who he really is. Don't buy a house with him. Don't have babies with him. You've outgrown him. Don't regret your time with him, move on and find someone who is more worthy of you. Just like your career, relationship and love is non-linear, you'll find the right guy for you. Networking in the old boys club when white dudes in finance do it. But when the rest of us make / call on connections, we're skipping the line and only got in because of diversity quotas. Super effing lame. Also, guys like Original Poster's boyfriend like to forget that there are rewards for diversity hires because left to their own devices, many white men will choose to hire more white men even when other candidates are more qualified. They literally had to incentivize equality. In many fields, anyone who isn't a white man is still underrepresented in the US. The more pay and prestige a job has, the more true this is. Yet guys like Original Poster's boyfriend have the audacity to pretend that they're discriminated against. They'll ignore tons of things that work in their favor and get outraged that there are breaks to give others a fair chance. How can you live in a country where all but one president were white men, laws were written by white men for white men, and most major corporations are owned and operated by white men, yet imagine you're discriminated against? Not the butthole. Using people you know to find jobs is 100% normal and called networking. Cybersecurity is not some top dog where no one earns more than that field. His attitude toward your major is gross. If he is not going to secure hacker conferences and networking with people, then he will not go very far in cybersecurity. I'm saying this as somebody who spent the last 15 years going to meetups, conference and joining the local hacker space. Getting a promotion because you volunteered and showed initiative on new programs and showed interest in the company is also normal. If he wanted to do the same, he could have been a volunteer at a local hack, security con or help out at his local hack space. There are plenty of scholarships out there. Winning a scholarship does not somehow mean you took advantage. +1. You don't sound like you cheated the system whatsoever, and used your skills to get a job you were qualified for, so with that being said. Info: why are you dating someone who has zero respect for you? You don't sound like you cheated the system whatsoever, and used your skills to get a job you were qualified for, so with that being said. Info: why are you dating someone who has zero respect for you? Also, if he wants to be good at cybersecurity, then he should be thinking like a hacker and find every way to cheat the system in legal and ethical ways. What's really funny is, I work in the security field myself within IT, and almost none of those guys have college degrees. They've all moved up from IT, taking relevant training and certifications where needed. I wonder if, in his opinion, they cheated the system too? I'm guessing original poster's boyfriend believes he got to where he is purely on merit. He's never benefited from a hiring manager's biases, and his success has absolutely nothing to do with any privilege he might have. Isn't that always the case? Someone like this believes they succeeded due to merit, and everyone that doesn't look exactly like them cheated because society doesn't give him the same handouts they give POC and women. Of course, completely ignoring that being a white straight man is the biggest cheat code of all in our society. People like this I just write off. There isn't even a point in continuing to be friends with them. I'll interact at work, but that is it. Not the butthole. But using a contact like the sorority sister to get a job isn't nepotism. It's business 101. Hire from references and find jobs through contacts. Also would have to say as a bloke whose wife earns more than him, that he shouldn't be giving a crap. He needs to be happy with his own job/pay and happy that original poster is happy with hers. If he can't be happy for original poster, then they have some real problems. The system is rigged towards white men. You've succeeded in spite of that. Poor lil boyfriend is not a feminist and he's having his ego challenged. Not the butthole. Exactly. He is absolutely not a feminist. He's jealous. Sorry, but time to let him go. He's shown his true colors. Not the butthole. He's a feminist until a woman earns more than him, then suddenly it's all cheating. If he cannot be happy for you, I am not sure where your relationship is going. And assumes that any woman in his field must be a diversity hire. The first woman on his team too, like he never questioned if there was bias for men considering they had only hired men before OML. It's always easy to stand up for something when you don't actually have to do any standing. He's one of those fake feminists that just said that to try and get laid. Also, they would vote for a woman for president, just not that particular one. Or that one. Repeat as needed. Not the butthole. He isn't much of a feminist if he thinks you got one of your jobs just because you're a woman. He is an insecure little boy, like you said. Edit it out, or a scholarship, so people replying can stop thinking I didn't know she got the scholarship because she happened to be a woman, even though getting a scholarship like that requires skilled writing from a woman. Not the butthole, but y'all have some serious problems. I can't imagine being with someone for 10 years and not telling them how much money I make. Even if you split your finances and have separate accounts, it's important to know how much money you're bringing in. It sounds to me like you guys have a real problem with communication that needs to be fixed if you intend to stay with him. I wouldn't, but that's just me. I can't imagine my husband being jealous and accusatory. If I made more than him, he'd be happy for me and for us. Really bizarre all around. But what man gets insecure and jealous about a spouse making more? That's more for everyone. Win-win. I never understand this insecure mentality with some men and being intimated by successful women. Not the butthole, but you've just found out how little your boyfriend respects you, so that's good to know, I suppose. By the way, he is acting like an insecure little boy. He only respected her when she was making less money than he was. Funny how that works. Kind of like she knew her place and wasn't stepping out of line. Info: has your application for the new place been approved yet? Run while you can. My thoughts exactly. Not the butthole. He does sound like an insecure little boy. Those aren't harmless things he's saying. He clearly has some sort of disdain for professional women, or at least women who are doing better than him career-wise. It's disrespectful and pretty gross. Not the butthole. All the NTAs in the world. I think what you're seeing is that he may have been a feminist in theory, but it hit home differently when you started out earning him. You worked hard to get where you were and made the most of your opportunities, volunteering to set up a diversity program? That shows initiative, and I'm guessing you did it pretty well to get hired. Same goes for just about everything else. Run fast. Even if they're just jokes, those things always have a grain of truth. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.